Hi, I'm Wendell Steinhauer, President of the New Jersey Education Association. NJEA is committed to celebrating excellence in education. That's why we're proud to support Teacher Appreciation Week, a special series produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation celebrating New Jersey's talented and dedicated teachers.
The keys to engaging our students next on Caucus, New Jersey.
Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. Turn a dream into a degree. The New Jersey Education Association. Wells Fargo. Suez. Ready for the resource revolution. Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey. Healing begins here. QualCare Inc., a managed care company administering health plans that care about your health care. And by Cohn Resnick, Accounting, Tax, and Advisory, where forward thinking creates results. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, Small News, Big News, True Jersey, and by Commerce Magazine.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. So what exactly are the keys to engaging our students? To find out, we have brought together 4 of the best teachers we could find. We have Chelsea Collins, 6th grade language arts teacher at Woodstown Middle School, and the 2015-2016 New Jersey State Teacher of the Year. Natasha Boyd is a 3rd grade teacher at Washington Elementary School. Where is that?
In Trenton, New Jersey.
Beautiful. Dan Borghoff is a MakerSpace, and you'll explain that later, and robotics teacher at Panther Academy. Where is that?
Paterson.
Paterson, New Jersey. And finally, Matthew Meyer, 6th grade science teacher at Robert Lazar Middle School. Where?
Montville, New Jersey.
Montville in Morris County.
Yep, right down the road.
Beautiful. Yeah, we're right up in that area. I want to thank all of you for joining us. I'm fascinated by this topic. I mean, it is hard enough to engage adults in conversation. So we're talking about engaging kids. We're talking about the keys to getting them interested, keeping them interested. So I'm going to start out with the elephant in the room. Given handheld devices, given technology, given all the distractions facing our kids, do you think it is harder, and if so, how, to engage our students in learning today than it was just, say, 10 years ago because of technology and handheld devices and distractions? Loaded question, I know. Who's going to take it?
I'll start.
Let's go.
It is an exciting time to be a teacher right now, Steve, and our world is changing quickly, and it is evolving because of technology. So we are preparing our students for jobs that might not exist yet, using technology that might not have been invented yet, to answer questions that might not have come out yet. So technology, we need to use technology and utilize it in order to engage our students and teach them how to be great 21st century thinkers. And technology is the way we can do that.
So hold on. You're saying that all the video games, all the texting, all the other stuff going on here is not a problem, but rather something you embrace. Not an issue.
It can be.
It can be?
It can be a problem. But
how do you deal with it?
Well, I try to show the kids, or I try to teach the kids what goes into that device. You know, I do
By
technology.
the way, explain the whole MakerSpace thing. What the heck is that?
I'm
just learning robotics, and now I'm learning this other word. Go ahead.
A MakerSpace is a location in a school. Well, it can be a location, that's the typical way of saying it, where kids go and basically can build anything they want. And think of it as old school shop class, but we've added the technology
Why did you
twist.
say old school shop class?
Because most of them don't exist anymore.
Okay, so I remember mine. Go ahead.
Yeah, so why, you know, and I remember them stripping out all the equipment from it. And now we're actually bringing back a lot of that equipment, but we're hooking them up to computers now. It's 3D design, 3D printing. It's working with metal CNC machines where they actually cut it out from a design.
What is a CNC machine?
It's a machine that will cut out metal with just a 5-axis machine that will cut out chunks of metal.
So why would a kid? I mean, now we're talking about technology. Now you're trumping. Sorry for using that word. You are now taking the technology and going another level and getting into new technology that no handheld device could even compete with.
Oh, sure you can, because they have to use the handheld devices to control them.
What?
Yep.
And program them.
Yeah, we have little robots called Spheros that can be programmed directly. President Obama just last week re-announced the nation of makers and
The Nation of Makers?
Nation of Makers, and the new Maker Week, National Maker Week, which is coming up at the end of June.
And people are going to be doing what? Kids are going to be doing what?
Well, he's trying to push the maker movement, which is a lot of individuals think of it as DIY to the next level. Private individuals,
That's do it
bigger
yourself.
companies. It is do it yourself, but we're trying to get that back into kids' brains. That
That's
you can
amazing.
learn without. I mean, you might not use that, the War of 1812 and something, but while you're in school and you don't know what to do for that, and you really want to learn that particular subject, maybe we will make a 3D relief of it, and we'll just print it out.
So it's so interesting. I raise the issue of technology. You're using it. You're using it. You use it as well.
I certainly do.
Explain to folks.
It actually helps me in my classroom when you're working with a population of children who either English is not their first language.
Describe the whole thing.
I work in a school where predominantly most of the students, they speak Spanish. Either they
In
speak Spanish
Trenton?
in Trenton,
Go ahead.
or their parents speak Spanish, so it may not be their first language, but it's the first language they've heard at home. Oftentimes when they're asked to write pieces, there's a lot of grammatical errors, and they don't necessarily hear themselves as they're writing. So if we use iPads and they speak their story into the iPad and they play it back to themselves, they can actually hear the errors that they've made. So it helps for us. And they don't have a lot of access to technology, so giving it to them at school, it is promoting those 21st century skills.
You told our producers that your students often think in Spanish?
They do. I think they speak in Spanish, but they write in English. So sometimes the words, the way they say it in Spanish is not the way we speak in
And the
English.
technology helps. And so it's so funny. I made this assumption just by talking about technology, iPads, iPhones, all that, as if they're so easily accessible to so many kids, only because they're accessible to suburban kids with means, our kids, and kids in the neighborhood that we live in. And you just immediately said, in the community you're talking about, in Trenton, they're not accessible, and therefore the school is providing them and giving an opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise have.
Absolutely. With that technology at school, they get hands-on, they learn how to use those devices, whereas at home they may not have access to it.
Let's move a little bit away from technology. You doing a whole agricultural thing?
Yeah.
What is it? Describe it.
It's kind of we take students out into a garden to actually get out in the dirt. Sort of, I was going to go with the technology piece, saying we sort of taken a step back on technology. I embrace it in the classroom, but I also think there's a time to not maybe be all technology.
Do you tell them that? You say, listen, we're backing away?
They embrace it themselves. They want to be out there. Believe it or not, kids want to dig in the dirt, and they want to use rakes, and they want to clip branches. They want to eat food they dig out of the dirt.
Really?
Yeah. Just this week, we had students digging carrots out that they found. We were cleaning up the garden beds to prepare our planting and stuff.
Describe the game plan. What is the curriculum?
Curriculums are science, so a big component of our science is humans and their impact on the earth. So to me, I see agriculture as a way to teach them that skill. You know, we all eat, we all have a say in it, and agriculture is a big use of resources. So I'm trying to have them learn the organic agriculture. So we're growing our own food. We collect the seeds, we use them for the next season. There's composting in the kitchen staff, in the cooking classes, they compost with us. So the students are learning like where their food goes.
They sell the food?
They sell the food. We started. There's a program called a Community Supported Agriculture. That's a CSA, and that's what farmers do. Someone will give them $500 in the spring and say, pay me every, come for every week, you get a bushel of what's in the season. So we sort of modeled that in the classroom.
They're learning commerce.
Yeah, and learning that commerce can be a good thing. You know, like you said, there's going to be jobs in the future, and I think agriculture will be a big component of it, believe it or not, farming or growing your own food. So they, at the end of the week, we call it Farm Friday, and they'll go harvest food, bag it up. Some of them are doing the recipes, the nutritional information on it, and then we deliver it to about 20 teachers.
As I listen to all four of you, it becomes so clear how incredibly creative you are. And I don't know if it's natural. I don't know how much of it's been inspired by other educators, mentors, a combination of the two. How much of what you do every day as educators is about, I mean, other than having your game plan, your lesson plan, your game plan, how much of it is every day asking yourself, how do I light a spark in these kids? How do I get them engaged, involved, interested? Do you actually, you're shaking your head the whole time I'm talking.
Mm-hmm.
Every day?
Every single day.
And the summer, because you also do what in the summer?
So as an ELA teacher, I promote
ELA?
English language arts.
Okay, we don't know all the educational
Sorry.
jargon, but go ahead. Go
So as
ahead.
an English language arts teacher, my goal every day is to engage students in reading, get them to fall in love with reading. And I believe that can be done through choice reading, allowing students to fall in love with reading based on their interests. I believe that can be done by providing high interest books and making them readily available to students right in my classroom. And I also feel as though that can be done by giving them time within the school day. So research shows that our struggling readers, so the ones most in need of extra reading, are ones who are not doing it outside of school. So I feel as though we need to provide them with time that we can control during the school day, where we can provide them time to be reading during school. And that has spilled over into the summer as well. I blog with students that I'm going to be getting into my classroom.
What do you mean you blog with them?
So they will have choice summer reading assignments. They can choose what books they want to read over the summer, and I'll hop on the blog and be blogging with them throughout the summer and having conversations about their books.
Okay, back up a little bit. People often try to imagine, and we've had so many wonderful public school educators as part of what we do, tell their story and how they got into teaching and how their methodology for doing what they do. And without making it too much of a commercial for public school teachers, what I'm struck by is how much of how they describe what they do has nothing to do with the time in the classroom. Realize what you just said. You're blogging with them whenever it is in the summer or who knows when it is. How much of what you do is in your quote-unquote free time?
A lot of it.
A lot of it.
Because school is about building relationships. And it's the relationships of having lunch with students during your lunchtime or visiting their athletics after school and showing them how much you care about them and their future. So much of what happens into the classroom is built outside of the classroom.
But don't
as
you
well.
say to yourself, all right, enough. I want to be with adults. No, I just want to be with other adults. I want to talk about adult things. I've had enough of the kids.
You don't get that. I mean, being a teacher is almost like being the president. You're constantly thinking, what can I do? It never ends. My husband's always like, can you please put the lesson plans away? It never ends.
Does he say that?
Yes.
What do you say?
Because our lives are comprised with me and school. And, you know, and
Are you
especially-
consumed
I am.
by?
Just everything. Not so much the contact with kids, but the other things that are put on our plates. I mean, it's very consuming, and it takes up a lot of home time.
People don't understand what you're saying. There are many people watching right now who say, hold on, you start at 8:30 in the morning, you finish at, you're already shaking your head. What time do you start?
I generally get to work at 7:45.
And you get out at what,
6:30.
3?
I leave just before they close the door at my son's school so I can get him on time. Yeah, so 5, so I can scoot over.
5?
Yeah.
But the school closes at 3.
Yeah, I hide.
Our kids are out at 2:30.
I'm there at 6:30, and I'm usually there 3 days a week until 7.
Why?
Because they don't have a lot to go to. So, and we have projects, we build things, and we have no budget. So everything that we have in our entire MakerSpace that we have, which was a computer lab that we torn apart.
Who's we? You tore it apart.
Me and the students.
Tore it apart.
They designed it.
In Paterson?
Yes.
You built it?
We built the room, yeah.
Well, where'd the stuff come from?
Garbage, usually. Everything's recycled. We never
Where'd the
throw
money
anything
come
out.
from?
We didn't have any money. Mostly me.
Okay, keep talking. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I've within the past 2 years, I've spent $4,000 or $5,000 of my own money on building this place for them.
Why?
Because it needed to get done. And creativity can't just, it doesn't blossom. It has to be, like on its own. It can't be taught in a room, so to speak. It has to come from them, but it has to be from experience. And they're not getting any experience because their job is to go to school and go home half the time. When you get to like 17, you can get a job, things like that. Sure, you get a little more experience outside of the area. But I try to throw as many experiences at them as possible, not so they learn how to do that thing, but so that they get the creativity pops open in their brain, and now they can look at things in a totally different way. They've designed all the furniture in my in there. They've designed all the shelves, all the workbenches. All of it came from either one. We had one donation. We took a lot of garbage and recycled it. Any piece of wood less than or over an inch, it gets thrown out. I take a letter grade away. I've never actually done it. All right, but we keep everything, and we recycle everything into other designs. Or into art. We have the art teacher come in and they do stuff. So
you're teaching your students how to be resourceful.
Absolutely.
Why are you smiling this whole time?
We do the same thing, you know. It's at home and in the school, you know.
Are you consumed?
In a good way, I guess.
I didn't say. Hold on. I didn't say it was bad.
No, but I'm saying like consumed can be a bad thing. Like you feel like we're lamenting.
Your consumed.
Well, you're always thinking about how you could make it better.
Yeah.
The garden was an overgrown courtyard that was new, so we started, and you know, with help maybe an Eagle Scout from an older student that had passed through, you know, those have come along and helped it. But again, it's by students. I'm in middle school, so they don't have a lot of skill sets, but they are willing to use tools and make things. So they make the garden beds, they help make the shed, they help to do that. And the recycling aspect is a big part of it. And right now they're doing, my version of a MakerSpace is that come up with things for the garden. So some students are making either some seating areas from things that we can reclaim. So they're learning how to take pallets apart and do that type of stuff.
That's what we do.
So it's kind of cool to have people that never used a hammer. They're using it the wrong way the first time. And you're like, no, this is how you take the nail out. So they're into that. And that's exciting in a school. You know, we're still doing the curriculum, but we're learning that life skill that you can really do anything.
I'm real curious about something. I want to come back to you and ask a question about socioeconomic status and people's expectation of what kids can and can't achieve. But based on what each of you have been describing, what do you get out of what you just described? What do you get out of that?
To me, it's a satisfaction that I've taught them a skill that they didn't expect to learn, and they're learning it and doing it. And I'm not to stereotype girls, but girls using tools and doing something is pretty cool because they may not get that opportunity. Or they should, but I'm just saying typically it's not something they would tend to go do. Like, let's take a pallet apart. And they're doing it, and they're saying we're going to make it into furniture.
And you're blogging. You're doing all these things whenever you're doing. You're engaging students in the ways you're engaging them. I mean, the award being Teacher of the Year was nice. I remember I met you, I believe, in Atlantic City, in the convention, the NJA convention. I mean, the accolades are nice, but you made it clear that had nothing to do with why you do what you do.
No.
What do you get out of the interaction?
As teachers, like I said, we're charged with allowing our students to be prepared for the next steps, the real world. And I feel as though through reading, there's research shows tons of academic that it will drive their academic ability, but also it will give them this compassion and empathy that I feel as though students need to leave our classrooms with those skills. For example,
What do you get? You're telling me what they get. I asked what you get.
But I think that is very reflective of what teachers are, that we're constantly, we get satisfaction about what it gives our students.
So that's it. You get the fact that they're improving. That's it.
Absolutely.
What do you get?
I learn with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one, too.
I learn with them. I don't teach them most of the time. I say, figure it out. And I will make sure you don't cut your hand off. You know, that's important.
Set parameters.
Yeah, there's parameters, but I don't give them any. No, most of the time.
You learn with them.
Yeah.
I think my sentiments are exact. I almost feel guilty sometimes that I learn more from them than they learn from me because, like, I also get satisfaction on beating the odds. Like, my population of kids they're the ones who are like, they're not going to get it. They're from, their parents don't have money.
What do most people do? What do you believe most people expect from and of your kids?
Very little. I go to workshops and they're like, hi, where are you from? And I say, Trenton, aw. And I'm thinking, like, why are you saying, I work with wonderful children. They are so bright, just as bright as any other kid from any other place.
So there's kids in Princeton, no disrespect to Princeton. There are kids in Trenton, a few miles away. Most people expect a heck of a lot more from the kids in Princeton than Trenton. You say?
The only difference is the zip code. That's the only difference.
You really believe that?
Absolutely.
That's just not some bumper sticker slogan for you.
Absolutely.
Make the case.
They perform well when given the correct instruction, as with any child, and given the freedom to explore, discover, think, they can perform just as well.
I'm curious, as a student of leadership myself, as a teacher, but mostly as a student of leadership, I learn more from my students. I teach leadership seminars, but I learn more from my students. I don't feel as guilty as you do, but what's the biggest leadership lesson you've learned so far in your work?
The biggest leadership lesson I've learned is that when you provide students with the instruction and you show them you care about them and their futures, that they will far exceed any expectation that you will ever have.
Are teachers leaders?
Absolutely.
Definitely?
Absolutely.
As a leader, teacher leader, biggest lesson you learned so far is?
I would say just kind of go on what you said, give them all the tools they need, but show them that you don't stop learning, almost lead it by example. Because as you say, I'm learning from my students and trying to learn new things. I'm constantly taking on new challenges. So I think, to me, I don't know if that is considered leadership, but I'm saying I'm showing you that I'm still learning new tasks and new things in the classroom.
Go.
I'm learning to take a step back. Sometimes you have to let them learn on their own. And it's not only the kids, but you have other teachers, because we're always learning from each other.
Absolutely.
You know, the best kind of professional development the teacher can get is from the person working next door who did something cool, you know, and you want to learn from them too. So sometimes you have to get off of a high horse, so to speak, and say, yeah, I'm the professional and I know what's going on, but at the same time, these will be the professionals at some point, so you have to give them a little rope. And not be so in front of the classroom, so to speak, and let them take over. They run my MakerSpace.
Sorry for interrupting you. Being a great teacher, can your ego get in the way?
Absolutely.
Meaning, I'm the teacher, I'll give the direction, I'm the leader, you listen to me. No?
I routinely tell my students, I work for you. Without you, I don't have a job. So you're my boss. And I have to listen to my students and figure out what it is that they need because they're my boss.
All right, just before I let you out of here, let me do this. Creativity, imagination, engagement, getting kids involved, keeping them engaged, involved, helping them become leaders of tomorrow. Loving your work. I hate to ruin the party. Standardized tests. Look at the faces I get right away. It's part of life.
It is.
And sometimes they're important, really important. Yeah, they are. The question becomes, to what degree can you say right now, well, without getting into a detailed public policy discussion, which we'll have on our sister program, New Jersey Capital Report, to what degree are you feeling that, or do you feel like you're sometimes, quote, teaching to the test?
As teachers, we will run assessments every day. We monitor student growth and see that our students are achieving, and I think that we need to constantly question, are we preparing our students for this future world? And those are questions that we need to keep asking and searching for answers from.
Can you still be creative, imaginative, engaging, and all the things you're doing and still, quote, prepare them for these tests?
I think so. It makes it a little harder. And depending on your topic, if like language arts and math get tested more rigorously in the earlier grades, I think then, like the earth science I have has a little more leeway. You still work within the standards, but I do see it as a challenge for those teachers not to stifle their creativity.
Have some of these tests made it harder?
I don't think so. I mean, we all have to be held accountable. They are children. They're somebody else's children. And there has to be some sort of measure that says whether they're succeeding or not. Whether it takes away your creativity, that's dependent upon the teacher.
Right.
Well, that comes back to, where do you hold their creativity? Do you use that for the test? That's an old problem that we talked about years ago before we even started talking about this. It's not about testing too much, it's how they're testing them. It's about coming up with it. They push differentiation on us all the time, as far as you have to teach each student according to their abilities. But if you're not teaching, you're not testing them according to their abilities. You're not letting them have a test that they could thrive on, and they have to be equal there. You can teach them differently there. So one law says one thing, and then we test them all the same, with very few variations.
Let me just say this: you've all passed. Excuse the corny transition, but you've all passed this test with flying colors, being extraordinary teachers that our students are fortunate to have you. Thank you for the work you do every day on behalf of our kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and 13 for WNET, NJTV, and WHYY. Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by NJ Best, the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, Suez, Holy Name Medical Center, Qualcare Inc., and by Cone Resnick. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus, New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
Seeing science in action makes students realize they can learn.
What is that word now called? Elizabeth.
With the right tools, it's easy to motivate students.
Students need to know science to succeed in the global economy.
That's why NJA established the Center for Teaching and Learning.
To give teachers the training to make science come alive and to keep New Jersey schools among the best in the nation.
That's why we are so proud
to teach in New Jersey's public schools.